Hey guys, this is Dave here for Guns and Tactics Magazine, gunsandtactics.com. Thank you very much for checking out this video. We just got back from SHOT Show 2017 and wow, what an experience. All sorts of people to meet, all sorts of things to see. And before we get into kind of a wrap-up video for SHOT Show, I want to give a huge shout out to the Guns and Tactics crew. We had Eric Foxtrot behind the camera, Chris and Steve and myself in front of the camera, as well as rotating duties, plus all of the amazing team behind the scenes helping out with social media, uploading, sharing on the forums, things like that. So really a great year, an amazing year. This is my first year going to SHOT with the Guns and Tactics team, and they really made me feel welcome, and I was just a blessed opportunity that I was lucky enough to be a part of. And we made some really good content. We met with all sorts of different companies and people, and just had a great time. Now, some of you have watched our coverage, and we sincerely appreciate that. We appreciate you liking, we appreciate you sharing, we love hearing from you in the comment section. But unfortunately, we couldn't get to everything that we wanted to. There was a few things that were really cool at SHOT Show, and unfortunately, we just ran out of time. So what were those things? In no particular order, there was a couple of really big buzzes of the show. The first one was the Hudson H9, which, unless you've been living under a rock in the firearms community, you've heard about the Hudson H9 because it is basically a crossover pistol between a Glock and a 1911. It has 1911 styling and aesthetics and ergonomics, but with a striker fire design. And definitely a lot of buzz around the show. The guys that went to the industry day weren't unable to shoot it, just the demand and the lines were too long to get to it. But we did stop by the booth, and a lot of buzz going around the booth. I don't have any great video to show you, so I'm probably rolling in some of their stock footage or photos right now that you guys are watching. But a lot of buzz about it. MSRP is not going to be cheap on this pistol, but it's kind of a unique design gun. They're not released yet, although the rumor is that they've been getting a lot of orders from the distributors, trying to ramp up production to get them in the shelves and stores for your local gun shops. And hopefully we'll get one maybe this summer or spring to do a review on and actually get some live testing. I don't want to comment on it. I haven't been able to shoot it, but it definitely looks pretty interesting, and there's a lot of buzz going around that. The next thing that people were talking about at SHOT Show was the SIG P320 winning the Army contract. And this was a huge talking point for a lot of people. The Army has been in this pistol trial thing for a long time, and for SIG to come out on top with this P320 was a huge accomplishment. The 320 is a nice pistol. It's ergonomic, it's comfortable, it's a striker fired gun. I know a few law enforcement officers who are carrying them, and they've had no issues with reliability or accuracy. I don't have a ton of trigger time behind one. I've only shot one initially, and I've worked on a few of them in the shop doing trigger upgrades or installs, things like that, sight installs. And it's a respectable gun, and what's cool about it is the internal module, the trigger module, is the serial numbered part, so that's the firearm. And then the grip component is interchangeable, so you can get a bigger grip, smaller grip, you can put different slides. So it's a modular system. I think that's going to be a popular gun. They also announced an X5 variant of it, which is kind of their competition or marksmanship accuracy type model that kind of goes with their other X5 models in the SIG lineup. And I'd really like to get my hands on one of those. It has a better trigger, longer slide, different enhancements. It looks like a really interesting gun. So again, for SIG to win that Army contract, a lot of buzz going about it, and it does appear to be a really nice pistol. Hopefully I'll get my hands on one more in the future. Speaking of pistols, Smith & Wesson also introduced their M&P 2.0. There was some buzz kind of leading up to SHOT Show about this. Would it fix the trigger? Did it really, be that much of a substantial upgrade? Well, the trigger on the one that I dry fired did feel better than initial M&Ps. Still not quite as good as an M&P with like Apex components for upgrading, but they added a little bit of ergonomics, some slide serrations that aren't really full slide serrations on the front, more kind of towards the bottom of the slide. And then they've also done some internal enhancements, they said too. I'm not 100% versed with all the upgrades from the M&P 2.0, but definitely a lot of buzz at the Smith & Wesson booth about the M&P 2.0. Other cool stuff was Desert Tech had their MDR, which again has been a gun that's been developing a lot of hype over the last couple years since it was announced. And Steve from the Guns and Tactics crew actually got to shoot it at one of the range day events. So I'll roll that footage right now of him shooting it.
Hey guys, Steve Colston here. We are here at the Desert Tech shoot here, and we finally got our hands on the production, the MDR. The last time I shot this was 3 years ago at the facility in Utah. It was just a prototype then. Now it is the real deal. Production should be available April, March time frame. 308 configuration.
What's that?
308 production.
So the MDR is going to be available this year, and what the company has said is they didn't want to release it until it was ready, which I can actually, commend them on. It's nothing more frustrating for a consumer to receive a product that wasn't quite ready to go, but they wanted to meet a deadline. So I think they're doing right by delaying it and making sure it's the product that people want and should get, because they're paying all that money and waiting all that time. Better be worth it. I have a couple of friends who are expecting them, so maybe we'll get our hands on one of those for the range session here as well. Definitely a cool looking gun. Magpul came out with a new stock for the 1022 takedown that I'm really interested in. I got to put my hands on it at the booth and kind of get a demonstration. And what's cool is it takes your 1022 takedown. It has that familiar Magpul ergonomics, but it's a takedown stock. But the neat thing is that the forend and the barrel store in the stock area of the stock, and they're calling this the backpacker version. I definitely am going to get one of these in the studio. We're going to do a full video review, and actually that video is going to be part of the 1022 makeover series. A lot of you guys who followed the Learning Firearms channel watched our shotgun series, which isn't over yet. There's a couple more installments of that, but I want to do a 1022 takedown makeover series, and that stock is going to be featured in there. Another product that Kel-Tec brought to the market, speaking of backpacker type products, is their RDB, and definitely looks interesting. I didn't get to shoot it. I didn't really get to put much hands-on time with it, so I'm not commenting on if it's a good shooter, if it's a quality gun or anything like that yet, but it was interesting. And they're basically trying to market this towards the survival rifle market. It's an overall short length of 26 inches with a 16-inch barrel, collapsible stock a little bit. I've got some footage that you guys are watching from the booth. Interesting product. There was some buzz going about this, some interest for this new product from Kel-Tec. Shoots .223. Some states you can hunt with it, some states you can't, just depends. But interesting concept, and we'll see how that develops. Another category of products that I had a personal quest to check out at the show was low power variable optics. And these are the scopes that have a basically low power range, like 1 to 4, 1 to 5, 1 to 6, 1 to 8. And I've been running a Trijicon TR24 1 to 4 on my patrol rifle for a long time. Right when it first came out, I kind of saw the light. And I wouldn't say I was the earliest of adopter, but I was an early adopter, at least for my area. A lot of people gave me a hard time saying, how are you going to clear a building with that? How are you going to clear a room with that? And the reality is, it didn't affect me at all. I had a lot of success in the competition, 3-gun with running a 1 to 6. And then on patrol, having some takeover, whether it be on a perimeter or clearing a building, clearing a house or whatever, I had no issues with that 1 to 4. It didn't slow me down at all. And I saw the benefits of having that magnification. So now that the market has kind of caught up and more law enforcement patrol rifles, home defense rifles are using these LPVOs, the market is kind of catching up too. Now in 3-gun, we shoot from 5 yards to 600 yards, and I was running the Vortex Razor Gen 2 1 to 6. Phenomenal scope, probably the gold standard of 3-gun scopes. And to hear that there were some new products coming out this year, I was excited. So one of those products was the Viper PST Gen 2 1 to 6 from Vortex Optics. Street price is going to be $700. It takes a lot of influence and features from the Razor line, but it incorporates them into this slightly lighter weight and lower cost package. Now it does give up some of the features as well. You definitely are paying for that upgrade to the Razor, and there is a noticeable difference that I saw in glass, but it's not a huge noticeable difference. You're talking like 85 to 95%, 85 to 90% of the quality, I would say. Just rough, the limited time I had with it. I'm gonna be getting one soon for a full review. It's just a really, really nice piece of glass. So check out the video I did on that where it kind of covers all of the new Vortex products, but that was a product I was really excited about. Another optic I was pretty excited about was the Trijicon AccuPower 1 to 8. And this optic is, it's a beefy piece. 34 millimeter tube, 28 millimeter objective, so it's a big scope compared to some of the other products, but it's a 1 to 8. First focal plane, which is new for Trijicon in the AccuPower line. Looks like a really nice scope, guys. MSRP is steep. It's $1,700. Street price will be lower, but I got to shoot it at one of the range events and I got to spend some time with it at the booth. We did a separate video on that. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out on the channel. But this I could see really being popular for the SPR / marksman rolls. Traditionally in those rolls, a lot of people were running a 2.5 to 10. I never really got into that because I found that although a 2.5 to 10 is nice for the max range, to get that 8, 9, 10, I always found it lacking on the low end. They'd usually have to have a sister optic, offset red dot or an offset irons, because it didn't have that low end. Where I can see this 1 to 8 taking over a market not only on some patrol rifles, but marksman or SPR type guns as well, because Having that one power, you can clear a room with it. The first focal plane, it basically turned it into kind of like a red dot, except for it's more like a donut because it's a segmented circle. And then zooming in on the first focal plane, the reticle did get a little large for my taste, but I think that's something that I could get used to with some more range time. So having a first focal plane was definitely an adjustment, but what's nice is you can range and have your ballistic drop, accurate at any point on the magnification scale. But a really cool optic. I can't wait to get my hands on one of those as well. Maybe throw it on something like a 308. Last, I saw a couple of really cool pistol caliber carbines at the show. And the new thing with pistol caliber carbine is, or PCC for short, is they are a very popular item. Now that the industry is kind of calming down a little bit, there's no more panic buys, or at least hopefully not for the next 4 years. People are interested in the pistol caliber carbine or the PCC because it's cheaper to shoot. And where it's really starting to take off is in the competition market. Several of the large shooting sports are making sections for PCC because you can run this PCC in a pistol course because it's shooting 9mm rounds most commonly. So a lot of guys are having fun. They'll shoot the match with their pistol and they'll also shoot it with their PCC. The SIG MPX has been a really popular contender in this, but not wanting to be outdone, Nordic Components, which is a Minnesota company, came out with their version. And what's interesting about their version is it's styled after the AR. It uses their upper receiver, so it looks really good. It's sleek. It has some modularity as far as your options with M-LOK compatibility, things like that. But the real modularity is the magwell. The magwell is removable, and you can put a different magwell component on there to take different mags. Right now, they're going to be releasing it for Glock and Smith & Wesson M&P mags, and they're hoping to announce more in the future. Definitely an interesting product that I'll keep my eye on. One of the other things that I really liked seeing in the pistol caliber carbine category was from Quarter Circle 10. And they have a new QC5, which is basically an AR pistol caliber carbine 9mm type gun, but it takes MP5 mags. Really cool concept, especially if you have a lot of MP5 mags. Now people are asking already, well, why would I have a gun that takes MP5 mags when I can go ahead and get one of their Glock lowers, which takes a reliable Glock magazine? Excellent question, and the reality is I like the Glock lower because that Glock is a proven mag, but the MP5 is just a classic, and I have a ton of MP5 mags because I have an MP5, and it's just something that I really liked seeing. An MP5 mag is very reliable. Not saying that the Glock mags aren't, but it's just another entry into the market for them to kind of show a more diverse product line. But the real thing that I liked about it was the upper receiver. It has side charging handle, upper receiver, no T charging handle. And some people will think, well, what's the difference? Shooting suppressed. Without that T charging handle system, without that area for gas to vent and come back in your face, I think shooting suppressed on this rifle is going to be a lot more enjoyable. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. And they also said that that side charging handle upper is going to be compatible with their other lower receivers in the future as well. So again, if you're shooting suppressed, I think this is going to be a winner for the platform. That's kind of a wrap up of the show. Again, I want to give a huge shout out to Chris, Steve, Eric, the Guns and Tactics crew that I was privileged enough to work with for a week. We had all sorts of industry events, social things. It was a blast. It was absolutely a blast. And these were some of my favorite products. If there was something that you really liked, leave a comment below. I'd love to talk more about it and learn more about it. Obviously, I can't go back in time now and check it out, but maybe it's something we can check out for a review. And again, if you haven't seen our SHOT Show coverage from 2017 SHOT Show, make sure you check it out. We'll put a link to the playlist in the description below. Make sure you're following us on Facebook and on YouTube. And always check out the webpage, gunsandtactics.com. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.